This is a good one. This is a good one. This is a good one. Welcome to another episode of Bass with Captain Lou. Guys, I'm back out at the Everglades again. I mean, on my last video on hot peacock bite, you guys saw that I was just tearing up those peacocks. I had to come back out and test out another area and test out what I've come across. And right off the bat, I'm catching peas again. These are a little bit smaller, but they're fun. So stick around. I'm gonna go into more detail, if you can believe that, more detail as far as the techniques and the lures I was using last time and using them today. And maybe you guys might pick up even more information to help you bring some more peas into the boat. There he is, right next to the boat. Now granted, this is a little guy. I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna come across a lot of these before you start finding the medium-sized type of peacocks or the bigger ones. But if I come across a concentration of little peacocks, through experience and observation, I found that there are bigger ones in the mix. They're just like large bass, meaning they'll stick around with the school, but they're a lot more slick and smart, and they'll stick around in the background until you coax them. So my job right now is to see if I can coax the bigger bite. But the little ones are around. That means there's some nicer ones around. So we'll see what happens. So it's just about every cast right now. They're little guys, but don't get me wrong. If you're fishing for peacocks for the first time or you have kids, they're fun. I mean, I do not underestimate any little peacock because they're so feisty. But I know the big ones are around. I'm happy that my gut was right. The area right here in this little circle is very productive. I like fishing around hyacinth. I know that the hyacinth may be a pain or a nuisance, especially in this system right now. They're all choked up at the end. Peacock bass love this type of cover. And as the sun gets higher and it may get warmer, they use these areas here in the shot that maybe you might see some hyacinth mats, and peacock bass love concentrating under those mats as well. So I'm gonna keep fishing this area for a while, and again, seeing if I can coax a nicer one. So you guys can, like I said, see these hyacinth mats? Do not discount them. Depending on the time of year. Right now, because of the high water, the bass are not gonna be congregating here in this deeper water. They're in the marshes. But peacocks, especially points like this, they love congregating on these points, especially with current, because they'll lie in ambush as the bait fish get moved in the current. They'll lie in ambush in these type of areas. So you see? Oh. You see? See where they're headed? Now I got an alligator coming. That makes it for fun fishing. Guys, keep an eye on alligators. They'll sneak up on you. This one's very curious because I have a fish on the line. So put your boat between that and the fish and you don't get yourself into a problem. So as you guys saw, that produced a catch. And guess what's the cool part? There's miles and miles of this stuff. So I switched back over to my go-to lures, and I went to a hair jig this time. The only difference from my last trip and with this trip is that I changed the weight a little bit and I changed the color. But as you can see, catching right off the bat again. So I've changed locations, but similar conditions. And I mean, it's not a big one, but this is a chunky one. Again, hair jigs. Once I figure out the bite, I don't deviate much from my lures. I mean, I'm still catching them on jerk baits. You could catch them on hair jigs. You could catch them on an assortment of stuff. I'm just sticking to the stuff that I enjoy fishing with them, fishing for them with. So again, give it a shot. This is a nice one. This is a nice one. This is a nice one. It's the nicest one so far today. I mean, nice chunky one. I mean, it choked the hair jig. I mean, as you guys can see, it choked the hair jig. I'm not worried once they grab one of these things that I'm gonna lose them. Because those little hooks that Jim put on them, Jim Hester, who does my custom hair jigs, I mean, he put these nice hooks on here. They are so sticky that once a peacock or a bass just swallows it, it's all over. So last time I was able to speak with Jim, he told me that he got hit with a lot of orders off of one of my videos for these custom hair jigs. I talked about these hair jigs in length on my previous videos on hot peacock or peacock bite on fire or something like that, that last video. One little tip or one little bit of advice that I did not include on that video and I'll include in this one is how I tie the hair jig. I mean, if you look very, very closely, the way I tie it is I try a loop knot on the hair jig. So it's a little bit different. It changes the dynamics or the swimming dynamics of the hair jig when you do a loop knot versus a direct tie. I picked this up watching the saltwater guys, the inshore guys and backcountry guys, how they fish their bucktails, and they do these loop knots, and it changes dynamics of the presentation of the jigs that they're using and they're cleaning house with their species. So I brought it over to the freshwater side, and the peacock bass seemed to like it. Here's a very important tip if you want to preserve your lures and your baits. Retie often, especially when you get into them. Peacock bass are they're crazy. I mean, they're always thrashing about and they got those sandpaper mouths. So always retie. I got to retie mine because I'm feeling some nicks and stuff, especially on these type of loop knots. Because one side of the loop could be nicked and the other one cannot, and then you lose, you know, your nice stuff. So retie often. This is a good one. This is a good one. This is a good one. That's why it's a good one, because it's a nice bass. That's why it's a good one, because it's a nice bass. So this is why it was a nice fish, because it's a nice chunky bass. That thing annihilated this jerkbait. So I haven't done this in a while, but I want to give an important shout out to a very good friend of mine. He's also a very active member on ultimatebass.com. You guys have heard me talk about this forum. It's an awesome forum and a great community. I urge you guys to go check it out. I want to give a big shout out to Big G, George. I went fishing with George about a month ago, several weeks ago. Come out fishing and I wanted to pick his brain in regards to fishing moving water and fishing current. And his insight and information was so valuable to me that I planted that seed in the back of my mind, and I started applying it recently in a different application for the peacock bass fishing, because we were fishing for bass. But the concept kept going in the back of my mind for peacock. And these last 3 trips, I would say, could have not been Whoa. Anyhow, if it wasn't for his insight and sharing of information, my last 3 outings would have not been as productive as they are today. So George, when you watch this video, thank you, buddy. I appreciate the information. I took that information and ran with it. Thanks again, bud. Oh, no. What was that? Oh. I don't know if you guys heard that in the audio, but I just had a fish break off my hook. That thing hit like a wahoo. I couldn't put the brakes on it, whatever it was, and it just snapped my little hook in half. I was hoping not to come across these guys, but I think the culprit of breaking my hook off was a very big Oscar. These guys hit like freight trains, so you got to be careful with them. People love them. People love to eat them. I find them to be a big pain in the butt, but big Oscar. I was right. No. My equipment and lures are taking a beating. Now, I lost a hook on the jerkbait too. So a broken hair jig and a broken split ring. All right, folks, that's a wrap. It's not even 11 o'clock yet, and I boated around 50 peacocks. You guys saw it: jerkbait, hair jigs, inline spinners, a whole assortment of lures I threw at them today, and they were there. But the difference was they were in specific areas. So if you took careful notes and listened carefully, I explained to you guys where to find these peacock, and it's across the entire system. It was just not one location. For those of you who figured out where I was fishing on my previous video, it's not just one location, it's in various locations. It's just the conditions and situations that these fish are stacked up on. So again, guys, hopefully you guys picked up a few things. One last note before I check out. This is for one of our members over at ultimatebass.com, Florida Storm. I want to apologize on our discussion on one of the threads on ultimatebass.com. I told you that the Oscars were not active this time of year. I was dead wrong. The Oscars were very active on this part of the system that I was fishing. If you want to know where I was and what I was doing specifically, you could always reach out, and I could pass along some information for you. But the Oscars are out here healthy as well. They're a pain in the butt to me. I know a lot of people love catching them and eating them, but to me, they're just a pain. They are out here in healthy populations as well. Hey, it is what it is. Either way, thanks again, guys. Like the video, share the video, become part of this community. I will see you guys again soon. Take care of yourself.